Hello, friends. Welcome to the final session of Laura's Story of Crisis. If you've been following along all the workshops, this is the last session, taking Laura's story and how, through the various tools that we have learned along the way, Lara was life coached and assisted to find her clarity when she was hit by crisis. So, if you're ready, today I have some very simple tools for you, just the way I had shared it with Laura. And what I really want you to do in this given session is more of a reflection work than really answering any kind of questions or doing an activity. This session is also uh, an example of how life coaching usually is done. It gives you a sneak peek into the the sessions we typically have with our clients reeling under personal crisis and struggling with to find clarity and direction in life. Let's do the work. As we come to a close, this is what I usually help my clients get to understand. The work we've been doing so far, along with Laura, taking her story from my coaching world, is just a brief sneak peek into the intense, deep work that I typically do with my clients. I hope whoever has been following along right from session 1 to this session 6, the final one, and in between, you will also get to see an additional session on mindfulness, which is more of learning than doing any of the activities. So technically, this is section 7 and the final one. As we reach here, as we conclude, this is usually we need to now work on. Considering all that we have learned in the past weeks, right from our wheel of life to our strength, values, obstacles, mindfulness, awareness, acceptance, knowing our feelings, extending compassion, being true to ourselves, developing positive emotions. Here we are after a long journey, reflecting on what were the most important lessons we've learned and a personal take home message which you would be able to pen down as you reflect on your learnings and the most important key takeaways in the past several weeks of our work together. Laura has her own personal take home message. What you see on your screen is just a template because, again, on confidentiality basis, I cannot share that. But what I would like you to do is write down and pen down your own personal take home message that you've been doing along with me. Once you've done with that, let's also make a plan of how we plan to stay on track. Friends, what I really want to tell you here is this is a very crucial aspect in coaching. Anyone who's doing this work, we as coaches hold them accountable. So if you are not, you're just using this session but not really being coached by a particular coach, then you need to make sure you hold yourself accountable and imbibe some discipline in coming up with time period within which you will be planning to complete all action items and the goals that you plan to achieve. Plus, how would you plan to stay on track? Because this is the most crucial part. Only those with a deep commitment and accountability may perhaps be able to do this. Most of us fall under the category two, where we need support of a coach. I include myself in this, where I reach out to my coach when I need to stay on track of the commitments that I plan to bring them into action of all that I have planned along with my coach. So use this or take help of a coach. And if you need my services, you could anytime reach me, and make sure all that you've planned is getting into the action. This is another most important part. Are there certain commitments that you like to make? Now, this particular template and this question is basically why I introduced this to Laura, and maybe perhaps you will also find it useful, is we, when we are going through a difficult time, we already are depleted in our energy. While we do this work and it's a deep work, there are times where we may not really feel ready for it. We may experience some very complex and inconvenient emotions and things that we just never wanted to face. This is where this particular template and exercise comes into picture. Because when you put down in writing with your own hand and commit to certain changes you want to make in your life, there is here again a neuroscience to it. I have a separate podcast on it. It's called I Have Decided Technique, which gives you a more deeper insight into how it works. So, this particular template, while you have been through and have made those plans and have learned a lot about your own self, make sure you also commit to it. And how would you do so? Is by putting it into onto the paper with your own hand, where you may want to work through it. Because not necessarily you may have all the five commitments, you can have only just one, two, but whatever you have, do not have less than three. Try to pen them down. This is a way you are committing it to your own self of the change that you're about to bring in your life and how you would stay put and committed towards it. This is like you're making a promise to your own self, which makes your work at a more deeper level and has a more higher success rate than just committing it by word or just in the mind. So use this and list down what commitments you would like to make to yourself. You would like to make to yourself, list them down here and list them in your notebook. And maybe you can put this on a post-it note and keep it in a place where you are likely to view it every single day, so that you know, on this journey of change, on this journey of finding your way out of your crisis, your difficult times, building your resiliency, being more aware, uh, finding a feasible solution, whatever the case may be, you know, these are some promises you've made to yourself. And the more you view it every single day, your resolve becomes more and more strong, and it will become easier for you to work towards the goals you've set for yourself. So, just like Laura, go ahead and list down your commitments. With that, we come to a close of this 6 sessions webinar using Laura from my coaching world and learning how to find a possible feasible solution. I invite you onto this journey. If you feel you want to move ahead and do a deep work, because what you have just experienced is just what we do on the surface. And for basis of confidentiality, I haven't yet shared a lot about Laura's story, because that's the confidentiality clause I sign with all my clients. And of course, with you when you sign up with me. which will never get or shared with anyone else. The rest of what we have shared and taught is with due permissions. So, friends, as we conclude, I invite you to embark with me on a journey of self. Here's my website. I'm going to share the link in the description box. This is my email address, and this is my number where you could reach me on WhatsApp or even connect with me, book your free coaching consultation call. If you like anything about this, feel free to share this with me. If you find yourself not really very clear on some of the concepts taught, again, write to me. I read all my mails and I would love to hear back from you. Besides this, any time in life you feel lonely, alone, and in need of support, who could help you reconnect back to yourself and build your resiliency, help you find clarity and direction, and build that most precious relation that's with yourself so that you succeed in life, so that you are ever ready to take on any challenge or curveballs life has to throw at you, then reach out, seek support, do not hesitate. Remember, you're not alone. With you always, your coach, Manal Zamja, signs off now, and thank you for your time and being part of this wonderful webinar series.